Ford promises some pretty optimistic fuel economy numbers for its Escape hybrid all-wheel drive. But how does that translate here in the real world? Tonight we go find out. Hey everybody, it's Charlie from Daily Motor. Today we've got the real-world highway fuel economy test on the 2023 Ford Escape ST Line Elite Hybrid with all-wheel drive. In tonight's test, we're going to head out on the highway and do 50 miles out and 50 miles back, averaging 70 miles per hour, to get a realistic fuel economy number for this hybrid compact crossover. Now before we get started, let's hop out and take a look at it. Very white, very expensive at $44,000, as you'll be seeing down here. But again, decently fuel efficient and refined and cool looking, the 2023 Ford Escape Hybrid. Now, our good buddy Chris Brower ran the fuel economy test on the normal Escape just about a month ago or so. So we've got some decent numbers to compare, especially because that was an ST Line Elite gasoline model, and this is the hybrid, so it'll be cool to see how they compare. But if you do want to see more on either of the cars, check the link below. We've got all sorts of videos. We're going to be shooting some tonight as well. So why do we do this test? Well, the EPA's highway fuel economy test, which gives this Escape 36 miles per gallon, that test only averages 48 miles per hour. It's got a lot of stops and like slowdowns and speed ups and like I said, that low average speed. So we know a lot of times in the real world, people just go out and cruise at steady state, high speeds here on the highway. And so we want to know what sort of numbers you can realistically expect here in those real world conditions. So in order to do that, we're going to head out on the highway here, do 100 miles, come back, fill up at the same pump using the same 3-click fueling method, and get a result. Now, a few things to note for today. The outside temperature is currently 66 degrees Fahrenheit. Our tire pressures have been set to their door placard, 36 PSI cold, and we're going to run the climate control at 73 degrees auto. All right, let's hop out and fill it up. And before we do, annoyingly, you have to press a button to release your fuel cap on there. I don't know why Ford decided to go with that here for the 23 Escape. Locking fuel door was very easy to just go based on the lock of the car. I don't know. Either way, that's there now. Remember that. 4.164 gallons going in for our first fill. Before we actually start the car, we've got our GPS reset there, our climate control set. I don't know. It doesn't seem like I'm able to reset the trip computer without having the car on. Let's see. Oh, just getting a blank screen. Oh, no, there we go. Now we got it to come up. Let's reset trip 2. And we're ready to begin. A few different drive modes here in the Escape. You got normal, sport, eco, and slippery. We're going to do this test in eco. We'll take it nice and easy over to the highway. We've got about 0.2 miles to get there. We'll pick up the test at that time. Now, the goal of this test isn't to hypermile. We're not trying to get the best possible fuel economy for this car, but rather a realistic figure. So in order to do that, we're going to get up to highway speed here at a reasonable pace and set our cruise control at a GPS-indicated 71 miles per hour. That should give us a 70 mile per hour average over the whole test. Driving in eco mode, you do have to lean into it a bit more to get the car up to speed. This isn't a super powerful rig to begin with. Looks like the car's cheap speedometer is giving us about 1 mile per hour above our GPS. It's a pretty safe number there. Initial highway impressions? For this class, this vehicle is pretty quiet and refined. It's decent in here. The ride does seem a bit firm, and I think, if I remember correctly, we've got some stupid sport-tuned suspension. I don't know why anyone wants a sport-tuned suspension for their their hybrid compact crossover that makes 190 horsepower. I'd rather it just be as comfortable as possible, but I'm feeling a good bit of the road, and that's not exactly something I want for just chewing away miles here. But overall, I think we should be good. So it'll be interesting to see what it's like after a few hours behind the wheel. But I'm going to continue on with the test here, test out the adaptive cruise control and the active lane keeping, and catch up with you at the end. In the meantime, enjoy this time lapse of the entire trip.
It's not a game, it's a rich thing.
coming into the end of the highway fuel economy test here in the Escape Hybrid, well, I'm happy to announce that according to the vehicle's readout, we are beating EPA, 37.1 MPG on the dash and just under a 70 mile per hour average speed. This is a pretty clean test, and yeah, for an all-wheel drive hybrid compact crossover, not too bad of a figure if that ends up getting verified at the pump. I will say these are some pretty ideal driving conditions for fuel economy. It's 67 degrees outside, the AC's not having to work very hard or anything, and we're cooking along pretty smoothly. I tried to stay out of bumps of traffic like this as much as I can, but it's definitely affecting the fuel economy optimistically. But still, real world sort of situation, seeing 37 MPG, I'd say that's pretty good. So we're going to get it back to the pump here, fill it up, verify this number, and compare it to the normal Escape, and by normal I mean gasoline Escape, and see what we got. 2.689 gallons is what we ended up putting in here for our final fill. 100 miles traveled divided by 2.689 is giving us 37.2 technically MPG. I think that might be almost exactly what the vehicle's readout said here. Let's see, 37.3. Okay, so very, very close, very solid, coming in at 37. One better than EPA, but interestingly, only 2 miles per gallon better than the 2-liter turbo all-wheel drive Escape that Chris Brower tested a month ago back in Michigan. So, I mean, is it winter blend fuel differences between when he tested and testing out here? Obviously, you can't go completely apples to apples because differences in the place we're testing and everything. But for a real-world test to a real-world test, it kind of shows you that his vehicle exceeded EPA by something like 4 miles per gallon, and ours only exceeded EPA by 1. And we also know from testing the Maverick with the 2.5 hybrid and the 2-liter turbo that those are pretty similar on the highway as well. So, yeah, EPA might make it seem a little bit more dramatic because of the way they test, but here in the real world, if you're doing a lot of highway driving, hybrid's probably not going to be your way to go. You might just want to stick with the normal gasoline, just base powertrain, and save your money at the purchase price. But at 37 miles per gallon times the 14.3 gallon fuel tank, you're getting an effective highway cruising range of over 520 miles here in the Escape ST Line Elite all-wheel drive hybrid. So thank you all so much for watching. I still think this is a pretty decent number for an all-wheel drive hybrid vehicle like this. I'd like to get a normal RAV4 hybrid and give it a try. We had that Woodland and it did pretty well, but you got the tires on there and all the off-road stuff and everything. So I'd like to have a normal one to try. And we'll see you on the next one. I'm Charlie from Daily Motor, and as always, drive on.